Welcome to Microbrew Gamers, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. First, I'm going to take a look into a local brewery, the Wachusett Brewing Company, and I'll review a Light IPA. And then I'm actually going to go into a nice little tip for a retro classic Chrono Trigger. It's one of the best JRPGs ever, and I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a series that I also do some retro stuff too, because I absolutely love the old school games. And I'm a big collector, so as you can see the background, so I wanted to kind of do that and add that to my repertoire of the new games and some old. So let's dig in. All right, Wachusett Brewing Company opened not all that long ago, about 1993, in Westminster, Massachusetts. So it's local to me, so it's pretty close by. I think it's maybe 20 minutes away, maybe a little more. And it was started by some friends that met in college and developed a real love of brewing and beer in general, and it went on from there. They do a lot of good IPAs, APAs type stuff, so they really like their pale ales. And today I'm going to be looking in a Light APA, the Light Indian Pale Ale. This beer was just created by them only in 2012, so it's not all that old. It's a nice, refreshing one, and I decided to get a can. Now, as you notice one of my other articles on my website, I delved into can versus bottle, and for APAs, IPAs, the can actually is better and keeps the freshness in a lot better. So, although bottles are good for wheat beers, white beers, and stuff like Hefeweizens because they do a double second fermentation process, while in the bottle, and that won't work in a can. So for the IPAs, APAs, can's actually the way to go. And I poured it out in a nice perfect pour. My trusty Link glass, so let's take a sip of this Light IPA and we'll get into what the Light IPA is. That's very good. Now this particular IPA, the Light IPA, only has an ABV about 4%, so it's lighter on the alcohol, so it's a great social beer. Have a cold one if you have a couple hours after work before having a drive. It's IBU's 40, so it is a little on the bitter, hoppy side, but not too bad. As you know, I prefer the sweeter beers, but this is a very good one. It's a very crisp, refreshing flavor. For the hop varieties, it uses Amarillo, Magnum, Cascade, and Centennial. And for the malt varieties, an American Two-Row, Crystal, and Munich. So traditionally, IPAs were actually originally more malt-based than hoppy. They were only lightly hopped, and they started off in India, hence the India Pale Ale, and they quickly grew in popularity amongst England, UK, and then eventually America and Canada. The IPA, the pale ales, is because the malt they originally used created a much paler color than some of the other darker beers at the time, hence the pale ale. Over time, they kind of evolved to be a little bit more hoppy than malty, so today's IPAs are more hoppy than they originally were. Not necessarily a bad thing, so they did a very good job with this one. And the Wachusett Brewing Company is actually a very nice local, and they take their beer seriously. I recommend taking a walk out there, or a little drive out there, if you're in the area. Now, the game we're going to delve into is actually just going to be some tips, or a major tip, on the beginning of Chrono Trigger, which was released by Squaresoft, which is now Square Enix, back in 1995 on the Super Nintendo, and it's considered one of the greatest JRPGs ever, hands down. So we're going to take a look at that and give you a nice little, for those that want to go back into some nostalgia, take a little look at that. I'll give you a tip to kind of make the start off of the game a little bit easier. It takes about an hour out of your time to begin with, but it saves a lot of heartache going forward for the beginning of the game. So let's take a look. Near the beginning of the game, when you go to the fair and you first meet your first companion, Marla, you'll want to go to the upper left and fight this training dummy right here. This is built by your other friend Luca, and this is great for getting a little bit of XP and also building some cash up really quick. Now, as you fight him, when you beat him, you just get 15 gold pieces, 10 XP, or not 15 gold pieces, I'm sorry, 15 silver points. Now, for every 10 silver points you trade in, you get 50 gold. This is a good way to cycle through and build cash really quick. After the battle, he hands over the 15 silver points, and you keep cycling through this. But of course, you don't want to get too worn out. So after you battle, your HP, your MP is a little worn. So what you go down, and right below where I just popped in, there's actually a pink sack of food, and if you eat that, you will build right back up. That it'll restore your HP and your MP. I'm a little ahead, so what I'm doing right now is I don't have to go and replenish my health every time. But there is right on the picnic table a meal, and you click on it, you eat it, and it restores your health. So you can keep going back and forth like that. What's great about this tactic is it'll get you up to a few levels. I think I got up to level 7 to start off with from fighting him. And I was able to build up some cash really quick going through this cycle. Basically, it's to try to get a more powerful sword right in the beginning that you can go buy from Melchior. So there's the sack right there. And of course, Marley will basically laugh, giggle, and call you a pig. And you keep cycling through these battles and keep building up your silver points. What do you want to be careful? I believe there's a limit of about 200, so you don't want to go too far because then you'll be battling and not getting any. So as you can see here, you go to this tent right before you get to the droid there, and you just trade in your silver points, and you get 50 gold pieces per. So you cycle through, and it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit because you can only trade in 10 at a time. So it does take a few. And then you run up to this guy here, which is the next screen down, and you can buy the load sword. Now that's what you want to the beginning of the game. That'll make your guy a lot more powerful. And I always say no, because Marla just gets pissed if you want to try to convince her to sell her pendant. And from there, basically, I went and I battled a little bit more. It took me about an hour to do this, but I also got a bunch of extra money. What I do is I sell some of my items back, and then I basically equipped both characters with the stronger armor, bought some useful healing items, which helps out because then when you start the game, you can get into the actual first battles. You're a lot better off. It's a lot easier to deal with. So basically, I'm just popping around now and just getting some, buying some equipment. And like I said, it takes about an hour, but for the rest of the game, it gets you a good tempo. You don't have to stop and level grind right off the bat in the beginning, and it makes that first area a lot easier. You zip through it a bit, and it's the load sort of stronger than the next like couple weapons you get. So, and then once you go through that, you'll basically after a while, Luca will be done, and you'll be able to start go visit and see what her project is up at the north part of it, and that's what really kicks off the game, where your character gets sucked into the past, Marla, and then you follow along to see what happened. So that's my great tip for the beginning. It takes a little bit of time, but once you do it, makes the game beginning of it a lot easier, a lot smoother, and you get some good tempo. Plus, of course, besides getting some levels and making it stronger, you also learn your first couple tech abilities for your characters, which makes stuff a lot easier. I hope you enjoyed that tip, and stay tuned for many more. Thanks for watching, everybody. That was good beer, and once again, I love Chrono Trigger, so hopefully that gives you a nice little boost in the beginning. Good tip to follow, and let me know if you like this series, if you like me doing the little retro tips here and there, or if you want to see more, or you don't like it at all. Just leave comments below, subscribe if you can, and thanks for watching.